Hello! Welcome all to One and All Blessings to All. Especially if you're new to my channel, I welcome you. And if you're a subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I am doing my 164th video. And this is like the fourth cut of this. My last cut, my cat just trashed one of my nice Krishna statues. So, yeah. Anyways, welcome to my channel. If you're a subscriber, I thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, I really appreciate your subscription because it helps my channel grow. All these videos are free. I want to give a shout out to Adrian Smith of Iron Maiden. Happy birthday. And Jason Newstead, a happy birthday. But before I go on with Krishna, check out the YouTube channel Witch in the Workings. He's run by Manon. I've known him personally. You know, after pagan meetings, we would sometimes talk. So check out his channel, Witch in the Workings, run by Manon. So, who's Krishna? He's different things to different people. Some see him as the supreme God, the supreme form of God, not just an avatar of Vishnu, and that Radha, his consort, is the supreme form of the goddess of the universe. And in some instances, he plays second fiddle to Radha, and that Krishna cannot be complete without Radha. And that Radha, so Radha's heart is Krishna, Krishna's heart is Radha. He is also the 8th incarnation of Vishnu. Those who really love Krishna will say that he is the most potent form of Vishnu, or the most perfected form of Vishnu to date, and that there are 10 major incarnations, and the final incarnation is supposed to come up, Kalki. And people do worship Kalki though. Now, Krishna's parents. See, when people do videos about Krishna, they are right when they say, yes, Krishna is God, Krishna is love, Krishna lives within us, and that those who are really into Krishna will say that there's nothing that is not Krishna. However, I want to get some things about him. His parents. His mother was Devaki, Devaki. His father was Vasudeva, Vasudeva. Okay? Vasudeva was the son of Surasena. And who was the elder brother of the king of Mathura, who was Ugrasena. Now, Krishna, the mythological city that was said to be all a myth, was actually discovered in the year 2000. So I'm just trying to think of the area where Dwarka was. And it was in the Gujarat. That's what I was thinking. The Indian state of Gujarat, which Dwarka was an ancient city, was said to be mythological. What was uncovered? And same thing with the river Sarasvati, which dried up, which was considered the mythological river, until, you guessed it, was discovered to be an actual river that did dry up. But Dwarka was basically inundated. It went underwater. So that was discovered in Gujarat. It was an ancient city in the northwestern Indian state of Gujarat, to be precise. So, anyways, Krishna, of course, this happened like over 5,000 years, and Krishna lived up to 125 years until he was accidentally killed by a hunter who mistakenly mistook Krishna's feet, his left foot, for that of a foot of a deer, and he was struck by an arrow. And the hunter's name was Jara, who mortally wounded Krishna. Now, Krishna's life number, and his number is 8. Number 8. His colors that represent him are yellow and blue. So, and Krishna's skin color has some, well, this one is white, and here we have black, and we have the baby Krishna here. Krishna's skin color, as some statues show him, is blue, and right here black, and we even have this one portrayed very beautifully. But in life, in incarnation, his skin was very dark. In fact, Krishna is another word for black. His skin was very dark. His grandfather, Ugrasena, was the king of Mathura. His uncle, whom he went through many spiritual wars against until finally he physically kills him, was Kansa, who was really nasty and evil. Now, he was raised, Krishna, by foster parents, and that was for his own protection when he was a baby. His father is the reason for that, which, if I have time, because there's so much I want to talk about Krishna, his father had to switch him out, and with Nandas, who was a father, his foster father, and his foster mother, Yasoda. And the reason was that, okay, so Kansa is his maternal uncle, Devaki's brother, Devaki, Devaki, who was married to Vasudeva, and after the marriage, while the ceremony was actually in the midway during the ceremony, a heavenly voice boomed to Kansa that your sister's 8th issue, the 8th child, shall be the cause of your death. So, of course, that set events where right after the marriage, because he was told that the 8th issue, because of the way time is circular in Hinduism, not linear, that the 8th issue could be any issue. So he had them, the mother and father of Krishna, imprisoned. So so each child that was born was killed immediately when they were killed, and which is quite evil in of itself. Now they say that that he had a sister that escapes, and that Balarama was his brother that escaped. However, when Krishna was born, the guards in the prison suddenly went to sleep. The father was able to escape to his prison cell, and as he was crossing the river Yamuna, a great storm rose, and actually the river Yamuna, the goddess who's Yamuna, wanted to touch Krishna, and Krishna put his toe out to the river, and the river kind of went down, and he was able to cross, and he went to Nanda and Yashoda and told them what was going on, and they switched out their daughter with Krishna. And because Kansa surely wouldn't kill a baby girl, the baby girl would not be any harm. But Kansa, true to his word, was about to dash the baby off the prison wall. Okay, so and what happened was actually the father, before I go on to Kansa, got back into the prison cell, and once he got back with the baby girl, the prison guards woke up. It was like as if time went back to normal. And in of course, some stories will say that the baby girl rose to the heavens and was protected by the divine. So, and like I said, he was mortally wounded by Jara by mistake. So I don't want to tell the whole story of Krishna. I do want to tell you more about this god. There is so much to the story, and Krishna was known as a demon killer. He killed many, many, many demons. There was just because Kansa sent many demons after him, even as a baby. So Krishna had some similarities in story as a baby with Hercules, with where you know how Hera would send monsters at Heracles, and he would always, even as a baby, tear them apart. Same thing, same principle with Kansa. So we see some similarities between Krishna and Heracles. I should say Heracles because the H is not pronounced in Greece. In Greek. Sorry, not Greece. Greek. Also, we see some similarities between Krishna and Pan, where Krishna loves nature, he's in love with nature, and that he protects animals, especially the cows, because he was raised as a Gopal, and that's one of his names, Gopal, which cow herder. The Gopi is female, Gopa is male, so he's called Gopal, where we see him in the wilderness and in the forest, and the sexual nature of Krishna and Pan. And I know maybe this might piss some people off, but yes, Krishna was very sexual, very wild, very free, and he was also known for his tricks. And he did some things to really drive people nuts. But however, his tricks weren't like in total chaos of causing physical harm, unless you were trying to hurt him and you were like one of the demons that were sent to Constant, and you were totally destroyed. He would find ways to trick you and beat best these demons. So we also see him as a lover woman, like the Onisos. Dionysus, as we say here, but Dionysos in Greek. And we see that woman would be entranced by him and be free around him and have really be loved by Krishna as Dionysus loved women. And we also see the flute of Krishna and the pipes of pond. Krishna can use his flute to entrance, to call people to him, as Pond can use his flute to entrance and call people to him. So his number is 8. His colors are blue and yellow. His Krishna comes from black. As he's, like I said, he was very dark skinned. Krishna was a young, so we have different phases of Krishna. We have different phases of Krishna. We have him as the child, the Lord dealing with nature. We have him as a trickster and a prankster, as we see, even as a butter thief, even as a thief. Krishna would take things as he pleased when he was a kid. He would steal butter, he'd steal milk, he would just do these things. He always loved to laugh. He was a very jovial he's a very jovial personality. So we see Krishna as a prankster, a trickster deity, but we also see him as victorious in any battle. I mean, you always see Krishna as this fun-loving God, but there's like an image of him dancing on the head of Kaliya, not Kali, but the serpent that was polluting the Yamuna River with its venom and its toxicity. It was a many-hooded cobra whom he, even as a child, tamed. So we see him dancing on the head of Kaliya, not Kali. Don't confuse them. We see him as a defeater of demons. We see him as a defeater of Kansa. We see him as a warrior, as a fighter. He's also Krishna the politician. Yes, Krishna a politician. We see Krishna as a lover, as one who loves to party. We see Krishna as a spiritual teacher, advisor, and a guide. So there are many phases of Krishna, of who he is and what he is. And I'm only just touching the surface right now of who Krishna is. So Krishna was at the cusp, at the end of the Dvapara Yuga. The Dvapara Yuga and the start of the Kali Yuga, for when Krishna was killed. Okay, so the Kali Yuga, that was the beginning of it. Which we're in the Kali Yuga now, the Kali age, which is supposed to be by far the most darkest age. However, it's easier to attain spirituality and spiritual powers in this age than it was in the last age. So he was on the cusp of the Dvapara Yuga and the beginning of the Kali Yuga. Okay, so it's very important. So after his death, his city of Dwarka went underwater, and all his subjects and the inhabitants. So you'll see many stories about Krishna and the Pandavas brothers. and Draupadi. Draupadi was married to the five Pandavas brothers. And the reason why is the Pandavas were his first cousins. And they were married to one woman, Draupadi, who was also considered not only family but a friend of his, whom he also preserved her dignity. He was a preserver of woman's dignity. He always did. He did a lot of good for women. Krishna is known as the charmer. His flute. He was also very important to him, and he did a lot of things with his flute. And it was said when Radha died, he gave up his flute. Radha, interesting enough, a lot of people thought they were married in life. Nope. But that was also debated. I plan to go into that in when I do my presentation on Radha. So, however, they were never married. She was married to a man named Ayana, and it was an arranged marriage. And though she was not in love with him, I'll be honest with you. In fact, Krishna was known to seduce many a woman and make them feel great, where women were free to be with him, whether they were married with children or not. So, yeah, Radha was already married, and she loved Krishna so much. She really did. And Krishna's, when he was raised by his foster parents, is where he was introduced to to Radha. And Krishna loved Radha, Radha loved Krishna. He fell in love with her, I would say around the age of 8. And theirs were a teenage love affair. So it was like a teenage romance thing. And I plan to go more into this. But here's the thing about, and I do want to get into this because I know I'm going to get comments about this, but Radha's relationship was adulterous with Krishna. A lot of people didn't know that. And she would even say about how in the poems that were written about her, and if you look at the source material, that she did not love Ayana. She basically referred to him as a dumbskull, a moron, an idiot, a dingbat. And that she was in sorrow that she could not be totally with Krishna. For she even says, I throw ashes at all laws made by God or man. That she saw these laws as vile. She wanted to be, because the laws had failed her, as she says, that love had failed her as well. And that she was left with a dumbskull, which Ayana, and that she considered her fate wretched, and that she said that she longed for Krishna, and that she would love to set fire to this house that she lived with Ayana and just go away, to literally set fire to the house, probably with her husband in it, and just be with Krishna because she was always considered lovesick. Now, to get into this, which I do want to talk about, and please excuse me, I've been a little under the weather. Nothing with COVID, so I don't have COVID. But there was a debate. Actually, this came into debate in the year 1717 CE. And it wasn't surprising at all because the Vaishnavas in Bangladesh, were saying that she was actually married and that she to Krishna and that she did not have an adulterous affair. But the Orthodox belief is that yes, her affair was adulterous. So, what they were trying to say is that she was Svakiya, Svakiya. It could be pronounced Svakiya or Swakiya. V is interchangeable with W in Sanskrit, which means she was married to Krishna. However, because they saw this as embarrassing, but however, the illicit romance of Radha's love was brought to a debate, and that the Orthodox position one of it being her status was Parakiya, Parakiya, which is adulteress, that she was not married to him. And the proponents of the Parakiya state position were declared the winners. So I just want you to know that. Now, we say that Krishna was an avatar of Vishnu, so Radha was an avatar of, guess who? Lakshmi. Some people try to say, oh, the goddess didn't have any avatars in Hinduism. Oh, yes, she did. Sita, it's a feminine aspect. You have Radha, who is the goddess who came in flesh and bone to earth. That would make her an avatar. So, I will talk more about Radha, because if you look at Radha, the Radha, not Radha, but Radha, a soft D, because the DH would denote softness to it. About her affair with Krishna and how it was, but I do want to go on more with Krishna. He loved cows, so his animals were cattle, the bovine, as well as the peacock. So peacock feathers, he would adorn himself with peacock feathers. Very beautiful bird. Different meanings is that the dots, the spots on the peacock, even in ancient Greek, was said to be like eyes. That the peacock has the eyes of God, where the God and goddess can see everything. The peacock is very beautiful, but also prideful. So Kartikeya, who is a son of Shiva, and Parvati rides a peacock. But I'll talk about it one day when I talk about Kartikeya. So Radha was very lovesick, and that her affair with Krishna was pretty torrid, and that sometimes they would have arguments, or Radha would get sometimes a little jealous because he would spend his time with other gopis, and she would wonder if Krishna truly loved her, and sometimes they would argue. Like when Radha was separate from Krishna, her heart was broken. But when she sees Krishna, she gets angry at him and turns her face away from him. She goes, and turns her head away from him. And that even sages say that, oh, this foolish girl, that one longs to have Krishna in their heart, and this foolish girl strives to banish him from hers. Because a yogi yearns to just have a tiny flash of Krishna in his heart. And there Radha is banishing him from hers. So devotees also believe that in order to get Krishna's attention, that you pay attention to Radha and you show Radha love. And some devotees would dress themselves as Radha and say, I am Radha, come to me, Krishna, I yearn for you so much, look at me, I'm your Radha, I'm your Radha. And that lovers and husband and wives sometimes would say, the husband would call the wife Radha, and the wife or the girlfriend would call her boyfriend or husband Krishna. This is actually a great book, The Sword and the Flute by David R. Kinsley. I do recommend it, Kali and Krishna, the dark visions of the terrible and the sublime in Hindu mythology. You can find this on Amazon. Now, there is some talk about how Radha died. And so during his teenage years, there's so many stories about him with the gopis, and about how he would always make them feel beautiful and wanted, and that when he would dance with the gopis, even when there were hundreds or thousands of them, he would clone himself, like, because he's able to do that. He was able to just snap at the finger, become 10, 20, 30, 50 Krishnas, so that each gopi has a Krishna. And he would play games with them. He would love them. He would make them feel great, but sometimes he would just vanish, and it's like they would blame each other. You made Krishna disappear. But his favorite gopi of all, and his favorite love, even when he leaves Radha to go on his mission, that he has to go against Kansa, and that he knows he eventually will have to help the Pandavas regain their kingdom. And during the Mahabharata war, the war that's discussed in Mahabharata, where he has to take on his political duties, because he was a prince and he had to do things. Remember, I told you his grandfather was the king of Mathura. So he had duties that he could not ignore. He had a purpose that he had to do. And like I said, his grandfather was Ugrasena. So he eventually has to leave the forest of Vrindavan, which was his Eden, which he made into the Garden Eden, where there was Vrindavan is a place of, just described almost like the Garden of Eden. There was so much dancing and happiness, and even when the demons tried to come after him, he would destroy them even as the children. And that it was a place where it wasn't too cold, too hot. It was absolutely beautiful. But he has to leave that, and he has to leave Radha behind, and she's heartbroken. Oh boy, she's heartbroken. And we'll get into that when eventually I do talk about Radha, but she strived to see Krishna, and the gopis strive to see Krishna everywhere. And word got to Krishna that, by the way, the gopis went mad, that they were worshipping trees, they were worshipping everything as Krishna. And that they would, when they would sell milk, because they were gopis, They would say, by Krishna, by Gopal, this milk is actually Krishna, it's Gopal. And that Radha would see Krishna everywhere. She even says, I see Krishna everywhere. So even when she dies, okay, so when she's old, when she gets older, when she's released from her duties as a wife, and her duties as a wife, she goes to Krishna's palace. But she doesn't have that spiritual connection anymore with him. So she, even though she longs to meet him, she finally meets him again. They finally reconnect after so many years. She actually leaves the palace and she says, I'm going to do her spiritual connection with Krishna in another way. Krishna actually follows her. And after their meeting, she does die. She dies in his arms. She goes to spiritual to see Krishna everywhere, but she could not find spiritual connection with him in the palace. She dies in his arms. Her physical body dies. Her spirit goes back to the heavenly abode, where she's a goddess on earth. But that's when Krishna gives up his flute, never to pick up again. He never plays another instrument again after Radha dies. So I just want to tell you that. So there's actually a story about how he also preserves women's dignity of when he finds out that what they call it, demon, but a local warlord abducts women and that his soldiers rape them. Krishna wants to get them back, but none of the men want to really go and get these women. He calls them nothing but cowards. So he gets them to he gets them back, the women, and the women were crying because of the law. They said that we're in a worse position now than we were before when we were with, the people that did this to them, because they would be rejected by their own fathers. They wouldn't be allowed back in home. So he gets a priest and he does this whole big mass wedding where he marries all these women. And after this legal marriage, he said that you are to go home to your homes and your fathers are to accept you, your brothers, your fathers, and they cannot throw you out, because they would be thrown out of their home and turned into beggars or worse and have nothing. Now they said if your fathers do not accept you or the men do not accept you, that they're going to have to answer to him, the Prince of Mathura. So he preserved their dignity. With Draupadi, she was married. She was the common wife of the 5 Pandava brothers. There's a whole big story about that, about how in the previous life she prayed to Shiva to have a husband, but she prayed 5 times, and that Shiva granted her the boon, and through a misunderstanding of her mother-in-law, that she was married to the 5 Pandava brothers. Where the 5 Pandava, these brothers who ruled the kingdom, had a gambling addiction. Not only did they gamble their kingdom away, but they foolishly gambled her away. And she was a very good wife. She was a very good wife. And she was very known to be very dutiful, and she was always make sure that the Pandavas know that she loved them equally. However, they gambled her away. In which the people that won her tried to disrobe her, and she called out to Krishna to save her, and what she does. So when they were trying to disrobe her in front of everyone, they kept pulling her sari, but it was like a never-ending sari. They couldn't get the sari off her. So there we see him preserving a woman's dignity. So I do want to talk about, he did have wives, and there are 8 primary wives. Other than the other woman I told you about, was Rukmini, and that was Krishna's first, well, official wife, as and Vidarbha's princess. Rukmini was his first wife. The other one, the more famous one, is she's Queen Satyabhama. She's Satyajit's daughter. That's his second wife. There is another river nymph who he married, Queen Kalindi. Then Jambavati, who's Jambava's daughter. He married Mitravinda, the princess of Ujjain. Ujjain. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Bhadra, Bhadra. Mitravinda. Did I say her? I think I said her name. Yes, I did. Sorry. Again, please bear with me. I don't have notes or a script. Madra. Lakshmana. Madra's Lakshmana. It's very important to say Madra's Lakshmana. So Madra apostrophe S. So Lakshmana. And Nagrajiti, I hope I'm pronouncing that, Kosala's princess, he was married to. But his favorite will always be Radha. His favorite consort. So I wanted to bring that up. So, gosh, there's so much to talk about Krishna. And there's also the story of Gandhari, about her, and about how Krishna meets his end because of her curse, which he does accept willingly, because Gandhari was a very powerful woman, but also righteous in her, and that even though her sons fought the Pandavas, and the Pandavas lose all their sons, and she loses all her sons, she curses him that he would lose his descendants, and that his kingdom would be destroyed, and that he would eventually die. He'd be killed. So I opened up a can of worms when I was talking about that, because now I feel I owe you, I'm obligated to tell you what happened, and I'm already 45 minutes So I'll make this short and sweet as much as I can. So Gandhari was considered a pure woman, and that her curse, whoa, comes true in 36 years after the Mahabharata war. So after Draupadi loses all her sons from the Pandavas, Gandhari comes over to, console and feel sorry for Draupadi. But then she makes a curse that against Krishna, that as my children, because of you, are dead, all my sons, you shall be punished as well. And Gandhari was married to the blind king. So she would actually wear a blindfold over her eyes, so that she did this because some say that she was devoted to him, but she was angry that she was married to him. So even though she was married to him in a prearranged marriage, she was also very devoted. So but she loved her sons. It was I can't pronounce this guy's name right, and I'm always having problems. It's the 3D. I'm trying to even. I can't even remember how to spell it right. I. It was he was the eldest prince of the Kuru kingdom, and is Dhritarashtra, I believe, if that's how you pronounce his name. But she mourns her children. So Krishna accepted the curse because he knew that she was pure, and that he, so that's why his kingdom went underwater. Walker. That's why the subjects went underwater. That's why he was killed by Jara. Just to let you know that. And I did forget to tell you Krishna's clan. So, which was the Yadava clan. Yadava. So, just in case you didn't know that, so. Now, Krishna can help you with so many things. Protection. He can remove obstacles from your life, from to have a good marriage. I mean, love, political action, political advice, to pray to him. So if you're a politician, or if you're looking to get into politics, Krishna can help you with that. Krishna is great for musicians. He can help you with love, with children. I mean, the sky's the limit here. Krishna can protect you from your enemies. As far as some serious dark magic, I've never heard of Krishna being used for the darker magic, but he can be used to protect you from your enemies, and even if they are really unrighteous, to actually punish them. So, but Krishna is known as a god of divine love, freedom, a god who protects nature and spirit, the nature spirits, animals. He was vegetarian. Krishna didn't want any cruelty to animals, so do not offer him animal flesh. Do not offer him fish. Do not offer him meat or poultry. Don't. Do not. Vegetarian and vegan dishes. He used to always steal butter and milk and cream. So those are the things that you can also give him. You could give him, okay, milk is not vegan, but it's vegetarian. And I would recommend, because he didn't like suffering to animals and the way sometimes cows are milked these days, and especially through big agra of how they're sometimes even the the pain they go through. I would get grass fed milk, cruelty free milk, like Fairlife. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. So, butter, milk, fruits, vegetables, nuts, dried, fresh fruit, dried or fresh is good. Legumes, bread, grain, cereal. If you don't want to, I mean, he loves milk and butter, but there are people that also give him like oat milk and rice milk. Rice is a good offering to him. Sweets, oh my God, he loves sweets. He's like that with like the way he has a sweet tooth. He loves candy, chocolate, sugar, sugar. He loves it. It could be traditional Indian sweets. It could be, a bar, a Hershey's bar, a Kit Kat bar. It doesn't matter. Krishna loves festive times. His birth. Well, I'll get into that in a minute, but so cream, milk, peanut butter, almond butter, walnut butter. These offerings are all acceptable. Ghee candles should not be vegetarian ghee. It should be butter ghee. Offer butter ghee to the deities. It gives them food, but it also gives light and the warmth of that flame. So it has several uses. The ghee. It offers food, nourishment, and light. Krishna loves music. Krishna loves festive times. Ideal times, your birthday parties, Mardi Gras, Halloween, because of the trick or the treat and people dressing up and literally getting candy and goodies. Yeah, it's not because it deals with the dead. It's because of this. When we talk about Halloween, we're talking about the trick or treating part, and just the parties. He loves festivities. So his birthday actually fell from, it's a time between August mid-August to mid-September in autumn. So right around that time is very sacred to him, especially the full moon of autumn. Right around that time between August and September is very sacred to him. So Krishna loves colorful things. He loves, he just loves the all different colors of the rainbow. So his celebration is Holi, Holi. And that's another thing that's connected to him. He loves that celebration too. He loves to play tricks. He loves to have a good time. He loves play. He loves all these things. So Holly is also a very sacred to him. God, I'm talking about 57 minutes. I feel like I haven't really discussed much with you about Krishna because it's just, where do I start? Where do I end? How do I really go on about this? I feel like adult right now. But he's very mischievous, very fun-loving, very charming, delightful, smiling. He's intoxicatingly beautiful. He has a way of causing one to de-stress, decompress. He can help you with dealings with nature to preserve it, to protect it. He's against animal cruelty and animal abuse. So any causes to that you can call Krishna for. So where are my cats? They were here before. So Krishna, God, I'm having brain farts. Full moon nights are sacred to him. He delights all with the flute, so after his death and his bodily death, he's portrayed with a flute, especially with he's seen with a flute with Radha or without Radha, as we see right here. And people have literally seen him manifested in the spiritual eye, or he has come to people with his flute. In fact, Krishna is considered one of the, if not one of the most, or the most of India's favorite god. I feel like I'm losing it. I'm starting just calling his name. It does things to me. Where 10 minutes can pass and it just feels like a minute. Just talking about him, and I realize I'm talking about for an hour, and I just feel like I've only been talking to him about 15 minutes. He has a way of doing that. Of just saying his name, it's like worship to him. Hi, Joker. He's incredibly selfless and passionate. Radha does come to take central place for him. He has a way of just pure love. So, Krishna deals with pure love. So I do want to talk about, oh hi Joker, of how he was born. So he was born in the Dwapara age, like I said, and it is on the 8th day of the dark fortnight. So the 8th day of the dark fortnight of the lunar month, which is, what's the lunar month of, trying to remember, the lunar month of Bhadrapad, which is for us in America mid-August to mid-September. So fortnight means 2 weeks. When I say I'll meet you in a fortnight, means 2 weeks. So he was born inside a prison. And he was born precisely, guess what time? Guess what time? The witching hour, 12 midnight. And it's very important that you notice he was born on the 8th day of the dark fortnight of the lunar month. That's between mid-August to mid-September, and it's a Bhadrapad. Bhadrapad. So the BH is a soft in Sanskrit. The B would become soft, like not like boy, but boy. So if you see BH, imagine if boy was pronounced BHOY, would be boy. A soft B, not a hard B. So his planetary associations in India is actually Saturn. But also we see his also Mercury, because of the trickster, the pranks, his young, as him and his brother Balaram would just do all these crazy things to people and drive people nuts. He loved to do as a child. He liked to drive people nuts. I mean, if he had toilet paper, he would totally TP your house as a kid. He would TP your yard. He would TP your trees. He'd TP you if he got a chance. You'd wake up with toilet paper all over. He was that type of guy. He was that type of kid. He would play tricks, pranks. He'd spray your room if he had a chance. If there was fart spray, he'd spray liquid ass all over everything. He would do those things. He loves pranks. So if you can go to a trick store and you wouldn't give him some modern things, you can give him some things to to play pranks, especially during his as worshiping as a child. Now, is he approachable? Very, very. He's very approachable. I do want to say, at the end of his life, Jara the hunter does kill him. And he, as he's dying, he does say this to Jara, that Jara, you were, in your past life, in a previous birth, your name was Vali, Vali, and that I killed you myself. As Rama in the Treta Yuga. So in Treta, Treta, that he killed him himself. But it was a complete accident, and it was part of Gandhari's curse that he accepted. So his last words were saying to do not lament my death. So that was his last instructions as he was bleeding to death. So what else is to know about Krishna? I'm going to show you these cards, and God, I forgot, and I never forget to do this. These cards come from Gods and Goddess Mantras, Blessings, and Meditation card deck. You can get these on Amazon and eBay. And it has a prayer here. O Krishna, ocean of compassion, O friend of the most fallen, Lord of the universe, lover of the gopis, O lover Radha, I pay my obeisances to you. And his blessings is a sense of humor, universal love and charity, success in loving relationship, and carefree attitude towards life. And as a baby, as Gopal. When they call him Gopal, they call him as a cowherder. And I meditate on the child Mukunda, which is another name for him, which is Gopal. Mukunda. So I meditate on the child Mukunda, the eternal God of unlimited spiritual forms, who looks affectionately at his mother's face as he suckles her breast. And that's blessings for perfection of parental love, protection of one's children, fertility and well-being of newborns, devotion to Krishna and those closest to him. So for children, which is very approachable, would be this form. And here are my other statues. I got this at KrishnaCulture.com. I don't know if they still have this one, but that's a rare one. This is absolutely very beautiful. Look at the handwork. This is a soapstone of Krishna. I do have a murti of Krishna that needs to be fixed, because Lady Boss came on my last, when I tried to do my other presentation, and I had to restart it because she literally broke it. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I do want to show you it. And now his flute is missing. Great Lady Boss. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. No, I don't. Here it is. She broke it. I could fix it. And if I don't fix it, then I'd have to get rid of it. And his flute is here. So I got this at an Indian store. And I'm very sad because it's absolutely beautiful. The clothing that he's said to wear, a lot of people associate him with yellow, and they always see yellow on him. As you see yellow here. You'll see yellow here. Krishna does love animals. So anyways, I've been talking for about an hour and 10 minutes. I do want to thank you for watching my videos. There's so much to learn about Krishna, so much to know about Krishna, that I could be talking about 3 hours and still giving you information about him and about the Mahabharata. Look at him in the Bhagavad Gita. And if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, then give me a thumbs down. I really hope I earned your thumbs up. I do these videos for free. I do not have a Patreon account, and I love money. Oh my God, I love money. But I do these for free. Your payment is your time. So that's your payment, your attention and your time. So please subscribe to my channel to help, because that's payment to me, to help my channel grow, to know that I'm doing a good job. And that's my currency, even though I haven't monetized this channel. So share this video with your friends and family, and in the name of Krishna, please help an animal in need. Please help nature. Please help, donate money to stuff like Greenpeace or National Arbor Day Foundation, anything that deals with protecting nature. Be good to animals, be kind to animals, feed animals. If you see an act of cruelty, try to change it. Be good to children. Be good to others. Be good to yourselves, and know that Krishna lives in your heart, and Radha lives in your heart. And if we start seeing as nature is divine, and that the divine is in nature, and the divine lives in nature, if people would stop treating nature as its inanimate piece of shit that you can wipe your ass with, our world would be a better place. So, also, some other things is, so if you were to throw money at me, instead of throwing it at me, throw it for causes of animals, okay? So if you see a hungry cat, feed a hungry cat, feed a hungry dog, plant a tree. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. And I do want to promote a movie that's coming up on YouTube. It's going to be Never Hike Alone, Part 2. I saw the coming attractions, and I just saw, I was like in love. I was like, oh, it's done so well. Anyways, do check out Witch in the Workings. Check out Manon's channel. Do subscribe to this video. And thank you so much for watching. And as always, blessed be.